Hello and welcome to Those Forking Fangirls, where we talk all things nerdy, book, TV, movie, pop culture, fandoms, and how they integrate into our adult lives. I'm Christine and I have to put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Wow, number one rule. And I'm Natasha. And this is episode 24. So today we're going to be talking all about our con experiences, the best, the worst, our biggest tips, if you're attending, and we're going to be digging into some of our parasocial relationships and if we've made them, at the con or how that's been, and whether or not it went well. So we're going to have all sorts of fun stuff on the pod today. And today we have a special guest, which is one of our Teen Pulse Bananas listeners. This is Claire. Hi, Claire.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on today. Can you share a little bit about your background and introduce yourself? What do you do? Where you're from? Who you are? And just fill us in on your favorite fandoms.
Yeah, so I'm Claire. I'm 29 years old. I live in the Bay Area, the San Francisco Bay Area. And I work as a service dog trainer, more specifically guide dog trainer, at a nonprofit. It's a ton of fun working with dogs every day. I'm very, very fortunate that my job involves working with animals. It was like my dream job, so very exciting. I know, ever since I was a kid. So it's so much fun getting to live my dream every day. Even though I'm a cat person, I work with dogs. I do have a dog personally, but I do love cats so much.
I feel that. I have a dog, but I also love cats.
Yeah, definitely. And my big first fandom was Twilight. Really. But I've been a fan since about 2005, pretty much right when it came out.
OG.
So,
wow.
OG. It's very different reading it, obviously, when I was in middle school. So I was in 5th, 6th grade when I read it, versus how I would probably read it now or if I was older. But of course, I still love it with every fiber of my being because it definitely, I feel made me who I am today. And then Percy Jackson was another really big fandom, especially during my Tumblr era. I was obsessed with Percy Jackson and the fan arts and all that kind of good stuff. And then pretty much anything Marvel or Disney/Disneyland related, I am 100% there.
Nice.
Sounds like we have a lot in common, Claire.
Yes,
Definitely.
So much.
Yeah, I grew up going to Disneyland every single year. I've been an annual pass holder for 10 years. So
Amazing.
Yeah. So it's lots of fun. I'm there all the time. And it's pretty great. So of course there's so many other fandoms that I am definitely a part of, but those are I think the highlights. Yeah. The highlights of them.
I just have to say, Claire has the most beautiful smile.
I know.
She's got these beautiful teeth. If you're not watching,
Thank you.
blinded over here.
Hit up
you.
the YouTube stream to check out Claire's teeth.
Yeah. I will say it's thanks to braces for 2 years. So they come with the cost, obviously.
Wow.
I wear my retainer every day. So I'm one of those people. Yeah.
Good for you.
I have not worn it since I was 19.
Well, you should
I
really
was really bad
wear
about
it.
it, too.
Highly recommend because, I had the permanent retainers and they broke.
I still do. It's on my bottom.
Mine broke with, I guess maybe when they took out my wisdom teeth at 28 because my teeth started to move and then my teeth started to move after all that hard work of those stupid braces. So I just got new retainers, but regret.
I know. Anything involving I always try and keep my teeth as nice as possible. We don't need to go on a teeth tangent, but I'm so scared to go.
We're deep in the teeth tangent.
I'm so scared to go to the dentist, so I always try and make sure my teeth look good so I don't have any problems at the dentist.
Yes. All right,
that's
we're going to move on into Snap, Crackle, pop culture news. We've got a lot of news today. First and foremost being there is officially going to be a Twilight TV show adaptation. And the news literally broke right after we filmed last episode. And Natasha and I were like,
freaking out.
Oh my God. And I saw the news and like texted Natasha like 10 times before she responded.
I was in the shower. I was in the shower.
Over here.
Yeah. You're like, pay attention, please. I need to talk about this.
This hit me so much harder than the Harry Potter news because I was expecting that for ages. I was like, what do you mean? Like, what? How? I mean, there's not much to say right now. We don't know what stream.
Nico.
Nico has thoughts about Twilight.
It's strong thoughts and opinions.
Strong thoughts.
That's how I feel like on the inside.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I can't even picture a remake of Twilight. Like, who would play anyone? I know we just made an episode about like recasting Twilight, but that was a joke.
Yeah.
This is real.
Yeah, this is like real life. We've
Do
come
you have
all the way.
anyone that you would cast right now, Claire?
I don't think so. Mostly because
Yeah.
you're right. Like I have this like very strong vision of like, you know, the cast that has played these characters for so long that I literally can't imagine anyone else. But I feel that way about a lot of stuff, like even like Percy Jackson, stuff like that. I'm like ready to dive in, but I just don't know what to expect.
Yeah, I'm very excited about Percy. I think they have a really great cast, but obviously we've never seen them act, but like they feel like they're going to be great.
It feels right. So that's what I'm hoping we get those vibes from Twilight as well.
Yes. I
Fingers
just
crossed.
can't imagine it. I guess there's probably going to be like an auction amongst the streamers if nobody has it. Maybe somebody already has it. They just haven't announced it because Lionsgate doesn't have a streamer and it said Lionsgate Television is doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, interesting.
Okay. Who are Lionsgate Television with?
Yes. Give us the details.
Yes. So I have no idea who I would cast as a new Edward. It's going to be youths.
Yeah, I know. And I'm curious to see how much older they are than, you know, what they're supposed to be playing, which is usual, like typical.
I would hope they get someone like early 20s or late teens.
Yeah,
You know,
hopefully.
if we were gonna cast like a Stranger Things person in it, like I feel like Millie Bobby Brown could do a good job as Bella. Actually,
yeah, that's a really good. I like that one actually. That's pretty good.
yeah. I don't think there's an Edward in that cast.
No, I don't think so. I'm trying to think of any.
No. Okay, let's get Natasha in on this. Natasha,
Can we go back to Twilight? I didn't get to comment.
we're still
at all.
on Twilight. We're
Oh.
waiting for your comment. We just said that like Millie Bobby Brown might be a good Bella if we were going to cast someone from Stranger Things cast.
Oh yeah, Millie Bobby Brown would be a great Bella, but I don't know. See. Here's the thing. Did you like read the article?
I skimmed the article.
I think I don't know if they're gonna. Are they going to actually reboot the whole series, or what they are? Are they going to pull stories out from
My
the
thoughts
books?
are that they're probably going to reboot the series because just like everyone in the Harry Potter world really wants new stories about Harry Potter, I feel like they have to reestablish the brand and with the basic like original lore before they build out.
Can branch off.
Because there's a whole new generation that will be watching this, and it's not going to connect directly to the series, the movie series, because a TV show can, you know, be so much more elaborate, and they're going to want to bring in characters from the show when they do spin-offs, and I'm sure they're going to do Renesmee and Jacob when those books come out, you know, so I feel like they have to do the books first.
I know. I'm like I'm very excited about the reboot, but I don't know. I feel like I'm more excited, but I'm like also kind of scared because it was such a huge part, and it's not like we can relive it the same way. And I'm not even expecting to relive it the same way, but that it's going to be a very different experience. Like it's not going to be the phenomenon I think that they're hoping for.
It's certainly a possibility.
I think that it has the potential to be a phenomenon again, depending what they do with it. But
And
like,
who they cast.
I don't think they can bank on it. It's not the same because the audience isn't the same as it was at that time. We're not rabid. We were rabid at that time. Katie says everyone else is recast, but they bring back Anna Kendrick as Jessica, which is hilarious.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Anna Kendrick should just play Bella's mom.
She should.
That's a good idea.
And maybe
She
Renee
would-
will have
she
a
would love
bigger
that.
part in the TV show. So if
Yeah,
they
maybe.
get Anna, she will.
Yeah, and I'd be curious to see how many like episodes in a season and how many seasons are they going to put for one book / movie.
Hopefully one per book, because not much happens in Twilight. I mean, they'll build the story out.
They can really, yeah, exactly, build the story out for as long as possible.
I feel like it would be just so fun if we kind of like what they did for Last of Us, where we had an episode about like an entirely different type, like two characters and their lives. And I feel like they could totally do that with Twilight. Like we could even see the Cullens back in the 1920s when they first, came to Forks.
They could even start with the Cullens, like origin stories,
Yeah.
before we even get to Bella.
There's so much
Yeah.
potential.
Really cool.
I just watched Twilight with one of my very good friends, Francis, has had like a big Twilight screening with all of our friends, and I watched it with people who haven't really like seen it, or like they've only seen it once. So many people were asking me, they're like, "How old is Carlisle? Who was the first
about
Cullen turned?"
600.
I need the
I'm
lore.
like, Carlisle alone has so much lore. And one of my friends brought up a good point. They just rebooted Interview with a Vampire, and that was so good. And I'm so excited to see, like, what, obviously that the movie from the 80s with Tom Cruise was amazing, but we also got to see it in a more modern sort of way, and in a more representative or diverse way as well. So
Yeah, and I'm sure that this cast will be much more diverse, and it would be really cool if someone like Josh Horowitz, I want to say his name is, who did the OC, he did Looking for Alaska. Like, I would love to see his take on like a Twilight reboot, like someone who's done really successful shows with people like in their early 20s, late teens. But yeah, it's all gonna come down to casting and the writers and such. I would assume like 10 episodes per season for something like this. I don't know. But I'm excited. We're gonna get to talk about it on the podcast, which is so exciting.
Gonna break down each episode. Got to go through all the details.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more information as it comes out.
As it comes out, yeah. And we'll be covering it here for y'all on Those Forking Fangirls.
You'll be the first
every
to know.
Friday. All right, let's move on to a little bit of an update on the Taylor Swift front. Things got real dark on the T Swift and Joe front these past couple
It's
days.
been wild.
Yes, like, okay,
TikTok
Austin
is blowing up.
Yeah, Austin Swift, her brother, unfollowed Joe. Haim, the whole band, all of them individually, and the band Twitter unfollowed Joe. And Ryan Reynolds unfollowed Joe. And she's been like seeing these people these past few days, so they've all been obviously hearing the story of what happened. And now I'm just like, Joe, I don't know. I don't know what you did, but I feel like people don't just go and unfollow people for like very casual break. Not that this is casual. Like, when you have a relationship for 6 years, there's no way it could be casual. Like Natasha was saying last week, like, their lives are so intertwined.
Yeah. Well, like Gigi Hadid unfollowed, like literally Martha unfollowed.
I put an update,
Yeah.
like Gigi Hadid
Oh!
unfollowed as well. Yeah.
I think he did what I think he did. Which is very
I think
sad.
someone was speculating that they have been on the outs for a while, and that if you listen to Midnight's, like, it's a clear like breakup album, but she wanted to keep it kind of quiet so that it didn't overshadow the album release or the tour.
I don't think so. If you listen to the album, like, give me, like, what are you talking about? I've listened to that album 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I feel like I've
I know.
heard like a lot of TikToks about it, at least.
TikTok likes to stretch things to
They
no
do.
end. I hate
They
their
do.
Taylor Swift because
it's
they're all based
wild.
in the clouds. They're not
I'm
based
officially,
in
like,
reality.
I'm officially out of the Taylor Swift loop on TikTok because I've just scrolled past so many concert videos. I'm like, I don't get anything fed to me anymore, which is great. That's the way I want it.
The idea
I'm
of
always
anyone
like listening to see like what crazy thing are they thinking this time.
Like, the idea that anyone is like, Midnight's was a breakup album after hearing Folklore, the actual breakup album, and thinking that it's not a breakup album, just like, it just pisses me off, honestly. Like, you guys, look back. Lavender Haze is, I don't even want to go into it here, but Joe did something. Joe can't handle Taylor Swift as his girlfriend when she actually is doing her job in the world, is what it feels like.
Well, and the fact that they all unfollowed, I mean, I feel
Yes.
like kind of shows that something clearly must have happened. And like with Gigi, at least, when she had been meeting up with Taylor, clearly they had some sort of discussion, and then pretty much she was like, and unfollow. So
yes,
something had to have happened.
And then, Natasha, do you have anything else you want to add?
Nope.
And then our last news item today, Twitter has taken off the blue verified check marks unless you're paying for them, which has been the latest tornado running through Twitter. Everyone's talking about how their blue checks are gone. And if you have one, it's paid for. And then Stephen King tweeted, like, just so you know, I didn't pay for that blue check mark. And then Elon Musk tweeted that he's personally paying for the Twitter Blue subscriptions of some celebrities, such as LeBron James and Stephen King, which is so random.
I'm confused.
How does he decide who he wants to do that
I know.
Why is he owns Twitter? Why does he even pay for them?
Yeah, he should just be able to be like,
He should just-
okay, yeah. They different.
Maybe he is, and he's just saying paying so people don't get upset that they're getting it for free.
That could be.
Tiffany says he's doing it for people who hate him. What is like a weird joke? That's
I
He's
don't
like, just so you
understand.
remember me.
It's crazy that like people have those accounts now and they aren't verified. It's
Yeah, that
the
are
wild
actually
west.
the verified person.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know. I mean, Twitter has been the wild, wild west since Elon Musk bought it. So now, oh my God, Abby said that Beyonce not being verified is messed up. It is. She hasn't paid for it. T Swift paid for it, I think. I saw her blue check mark. Like, she can afford it. Just
I was gonna say most
verify
of the celebrities could probably afford it.
Yeah, they can all probably afford it.
I tell my
But
assistant,
yeah.
be like, buy it now, so we can get that going.
Yeah, was there any other news y'all had for us this week, or should we move on? All right, Natasha, you want to do our listener?
Yeah. So before we move on to our main chat, we just want to take a moment to thank all of our listeners. Thank you, everyone who has listened and supported the podcast. If you would like to support the podcast, you can leave us a rating or a review on any of the listening apps that you like to listen from. You can also follow us on Instagram, which is at Those Forking Fangirls, Twitter, which is Fork Fangirls Pod. We will not be verified there. TikTok, which is at Those Forking Fangirls. And if you have any feedback for us, you can always email us, which is thoseforkingfangirls@gmail.com. And then if you ever want to support us in a bigger way, we are a listener supported or funded podcast. We have supported, yeah.
They support.
Yes, so Claire is one of our supporters. We have a Patreon with multiple different tiers, with multiple perks. One being you can be on the pod like Claire is today and have a fun discussion with us. But that is patreon.com/thoseforkingfangirls. Is that right,
Yes,
Christine?
that is right. That is right.
Yeah, so that will all be in our show notes. And we just want to say a big thank you to everyone who listens and gives us any feedback. We very much appreciate you all.
Yeah, and before we move on, just really quickly want to add that we'd really appreciate it if you followed us for free in your favorite podcast app so you don't miss an episode. So they go to your app and let you know when we have a new episode. And same on YouTube. You could subscribe for free if you like the visual version of the show. And hit the like button if you're watching right now. Leave us a comment. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And also forgot to mention that our biggest perk is our extra long episodes, and we have Fangirl Tea Time at the very end, which is an extra 30-minute show. And today we're going to be talking about some stories that we don't feel like sharing.
Well, Well, no,
on the main
they're
show.
a
On the
little
main
too scandalous for the. They're too close to the heart for the fans.
They're a little
the
spicy.
main show. A little spicy. Yeah, some cute con stories that are a little too personal for the show. So tune in for tea time today for that. Okay, real quick. Claire, I think, can you turn down your volume a little bit? I think there's an echo, and I don't know. I turned mine down a lot, so I don't know if it's me.
Your audio is fine. It's the volume in your headphones.
It's the volume in your headphones. Yeah. Because sometimes that happens, and then there's an echo for Alex to edit out the whole time.
Let me see if that's better.
It should be, if you just turned it down.
We almost are like whispering in your ear. That's how low we have it. In
I have them all
Yeah.
so low, as long as you can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
All right. So last week we missed What Right Now, so I've moved it up so that we definitely get it into the episode. So we're going to move on into What Right Now. Natasha, what have you been reading this week?
Nothing.
Claire,
Christine, what have you been reading this week?
Oh,
This week, I was going to say, I've been reading
Yeah.
like a pretty dark book called How High We Go in the Dark. It's called by
Ooh.
Sequoia Nagamatsu, I think is how it's pronounced. It's about a pandemic. So please
Oh,
read
wow.
with your own discretion because it is very dark and it hits a little too close to home sometimes. But really interesting. And yeah, very dark. So keep that in mind if you decide to pick it up. But super interesting.
I'm reading Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, one of my most anticipated reads of the year. And I love her writing, love her characters, but there's some medical stuff happening because the main character is a doctor. I've had to kind of like skim through. But the lead guy has anxiety in a way that, like, I don't know, details that I've never really heard before in a character that I like really relate to. I've been like seeing in it, which is really interesting, and I'm really excited to see how their love story goes. I'm just going to skim the parts about the lead character has a brother who's very sick, and I start to like get really hypochondriac-y when I'm reading her talk about him. So
Yeah,
skim.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really interested in how their relationship's going to develop, and I really like how she's portraying the anxiety. I feel like it feels really close to home in ways that I've never really identified in myself. And when she said it, I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly
Yeah,
how
that
I
sounds
feel
right.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's on my TBR for sure. I saw that and I was like, ooh, I'm interested.
Yes. Okay. TV shows. Natasha.
Okay, so there's a new spicy show on Netflix I was very excited for. So with Richard Armitage, oh no, Abby has to leave us. Bye, Abby. Richard Armitage is from The Hobbit, and he's from one of my favorite period dramas, which is called North and South. Anyways, the premise is that this Richard Armitage plays this doctor, and he has an affair with his son's girlfriend, and it's very uncomfortable. Honestly, there's a whole scene in the show that I've never been more embarrassed in my life to watch. And he's like it's called obsession for a reason. He's like obsessed with this woman, and he is like he gets into the hotel room that she's in, and he just starts sniffing this pillow, and I'm like, no,
Oh my gosh.
no.
Yikes.
And then he like gets off on the smell of the pillow, and I was like, and I'm watching this with my cousins, and we're all like, no, this is too much.
Oh,
That's the kind of TV show I'd want to watch by myself.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's yeah. So I didn't love the show. I thought it was going to be way better than it was, and it unfortunately is just like uncomfortable. It's like serial killer vibes, but not. And it doesn't. The characterizations don't make a lot of sense to me. Anyways, I have been watching Power. Christine and I put the first episode on while we were hanging out together last week, and I really liked it. Christine's read the book, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to watch it because I've read the book. It's very similar to the book. Like, they're doing a good job so far of adapting it, in my opinion. But I just got really sad feelings from the book at the end, and that's what's sitting with me, and I just don't want to watch it right now. I'm not like ready to watch
Experience that, yeah, by watching it.
Yeah, the first like 4 episodes were great, and then the kind of like the middle bits are a little. I kind of stepped away, and it wasn't really holding my attention. But I'm gonna finish it.
All right. I need to talk about Yellowjackets. The episode.
I am not caught up.
I just watched today's episode, and it was so good. Like one of the best episodes I feel like that they've had so far, and I was just like chilled to my very core. In the best way. And I've just been loving the second season. We're 5 episodes in. It's phenomenal. I highly recommend it. I know a lot of people might see the trailer and think it's scary, but I can't watch scary things. Oh my God, yes, Misty fucking, I can't remember her last name right now. I know it.
I can't take her.
I love her character. She's a psychopath, but I love watching her. You know how I love my psychopath characters. And just all of the characters are like so well developed, and they've been building up the
Anticipation.
issues. They've been building though like these characters and their backstories and their specific traumas and issues for so long, so well, so slowly that it's all starting to really come to a crux. And I love Shauna and her family and how that's evolving and their stories going and their daughter. Like, have you watched last week's, Natasha?
No, I've not really been home, so.
Okay, yeah. You got to catch up. It's been so good. Naomi is like,
watch it tonight.
Yes, you're on board with me, right? It's been so good. And yes, I love Frodo on the show. Elijah Wood is on the show playing like a foil to not even a foil. He's like a Misty in man form. And I love it. I love it so much. So I'm very excited to watch the second half of the season. Oh my gosh. They're like moving much faster, I feel like, in this season. Or maybe we're just farther enough in that it's not moving as slowly. I'm pumped, man. So that's what I've been obsessed with this week. I'm also watching Ted Lasso, which is great, and Beef, which is great, and Mrs. Maisel started last week, but I have not caught up yet.
Mrs. Maisel's back. It's so good.
Claire, what have you been watching this week?
I'm going to be honest. I'm not really as much of a TV show person as you guys clearly are. I'm more of a movie person. I don't know why. That's just who I am. I started on Netflix, The Bling Empire New York, which is like reality TV, and it's pretty crazy, and I can't imagine living that kind of life. And I started it, and now I can't stop. So that's what I've been watching. And it was because I followed one girl named Dorothy. She was on Rich Kids of Beverly Hills like a long time ago, and I watched that briefly. So I was like, I'm invested. So now I gotta keep going.
Watching for her.
Yeah, watch it for her.
Yeah, that happens.
Honestly, iconic.
All right. Do you want to move into movies, Claire? What'd you watch movie-wise?
I watched the new Super Mario Brothers movie this week.
Oh, I want to watch it.
It was really cute. It was very cute. I went in with pretty low expectations, just because. I don't know.
It looks like low expectations.
Yeah. I mean, part of it is Chris Pratt's voice. I mean, I think we've all talked about this like a million times. But the soundtrack, phenomenal. There were some fun Easter eggs. If you've ever played the Mario Brothers games that you can like catch in the movie, which is really cute. Apparently there's an end credit, which I had no idea. So the end credit's like 6 seconds long, I guess. But I was like, what is this, a Marvel movie? I just walked out of it because I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, really cute. I'd recommend seeing it. I don't know if I'm going to see it again, but it was very cute. Loved it.
Okay. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I saw Dungeons and Dragons last week, and I freaking loved that movie. It was
I've heard
great
such good
fun.
things, which is funny because once again, that was another movie I was going to go in with pretty low expectations.
Same. I saw like they had a lot of promo for it at Comic-Con, and I was like, I don't know about this. No, it was so good, so well written, funny. I mean, such a great cast, and yes, it is campy. Ash says it looks fun and campy. Yeah, it was campy, but
That's part of the fun.
It was part of the fun, and they had special effects, but what are they called? Like, they had puppets and stuff. Like, they didn't just do digital special effects. They had, like, real life special effects.
Practical effects, you mean? Yeah.
Practical effects, yes. And I really enjoyed that. Oh, God, yeah, it was so good. I sat next to my brother and his best friend. I was literally, like, in a sandwich. And these two guys love Dungeons and Dragons. My brother is a DM, okay? And Alex was just like, he's like, they're doing this spell. And then, like, his friend Dakota would be like, no, they're doing this spell. And then I would have to, like, lean back. We're, like, talking at each other. You don't need to know Dungeons and Dragons. It's a great film. But it was fun to hear, like, my brother who is in Dakota, who are, like, very well versed
really enjoy
in the world.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there is an end credit scene on that one too.
Oh my gosh, is this like a new thing that all TV or movies are doing now?
I love an end credit scene.
I know, I love it too.
Great.
And it gets you to stay for all the credits, and you get to like watch them.
It's a mid credits. I should say it's mid credits. It happens after like the main like cast and director. But
I feel like I always have
great.
to see anything that Chris Pine is in. So
I
was already
him.
signed up immediately after that.
I always put him as like my first like. Before, like, I thought Chris Hemsworth was the best, but now I'm like, no, it's always been Chris Pine. Like, I've loved him since Princess Diaries.
He's
oh my
my
gosh,
least favorite Chris.
No,
no.
You know what cemented?
What?
What cemented his number one was when he just shed that one beautiful tear at the Oscars.
Iconic.
But I also, like, as an actor, I really enjoyed Chris Pratt, but I know he's got some issues. But
yeah, he definitely came down a couple notches after that.
yeah, he's got some great comedic timing, though, so I really enjoy watching him in things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
All
that
right.
being said, I'm still going to watch him in Guardians of the Galaxy. So.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yes. He is very funny as Star-Lord. All right. We're going to move on in to our main discussion, all about fan conferences and festivals, the best, the worst, the ones we'd love to relive. And we're going to kick it off with everyone's first con. So I'm going to shoot it to Natasha. You go first. Tell us about your first ever con experience, how it went.
My first ever con experience was Comic-Con San Diego, 2009. I was very ill prepared.
How old were you?
I was my sophomore year, going in my sophomore year of high school. So I was 15. And I had heard about, obviously, okay, this all revolved around Twilight because I only went for the New Moon panel because I saw, like, everyone was talking about how the Twilight panel, like, changed everything. And I'm like, I need to experience this. And this is the only thing I know that is coming to anywhere close to me where Twilight is going to be. So I got tickets online without my parents' permission. Like I memorized my dad's credit card a long time ago.
Oh my God.
And I got 2 tickets for me and my mom. I got them like in probably February or March, and then the convention's always in July. And it comes like a week before, and I have just been building up, like my Twilight, fangirlness for a long time, and like I've truly proven that I am obsessed. And so I remember I told my mom like 2 nights before, I'm like, Mom, I bought tickets to Comic-Con and you can't refund them or else you'll never be able to go again. I remember reading
You're
that
like,
somewhere.
It's too late now.
And yes. So I had no idea what the whole convention was about. I literally just went there. I found out like you could get into the panel. My mom and I left at like 3 a.m. We were there for a day. The line to get into Hall H to see the New Moon panel, which was at like 1:30, was so long. One of the longest lines I think I've ever like waited in. And they kept telling us the entire time, like, you're not going to get in for Twilight. You're not going to get in. And guess what? We got in. I have so many hilarious stories from that day, which I've reenacted on my YouTube channel for the OGs who kind of remember that story. But I got in and I got to see like the new moon Twilight panel, and I didn't care about any of the rest of the con. Like the main show floor could care less. Like we
I'm
went
here
there
for one reason and one reason only.
One reason only. And then I found out that there was like the whole cast was like surprising people at the movie theater in Gaslamp, and my mom scalped tickets for us, and we waited in another massive line all day long, and that was like you couldn't ask for a better convention experience, even though it wasn't really a true convention experience. It was more of like you're going for one thing, but there's a lot of people and they're all excited for like.
That's what a lot of people come to the convention for. They're one thing. And I highly recommend, I'm going to link this in the show notes, but Natasha, I did a video with her where she like we reacted to her old videos, and her mom tells the story of this convention, and it's so funny. You have to watch it.
Yes, it was hilarious. Christine, what was your first con experience?
My first con experience. I'm not going to count I went to like a New Moon conference in Parsippany, but like compared to every other con, it was nothing. It was in a like hotel, and the New Moon cast talked at the front of a conference room. Like,
I mean, that was like some of my first con. I mean, like Twilight, that was my next experience with Twilight.
Comic-Con is a real con. So I'm going to talk about my first actual con, because I didn't know what I was doing when I went to VidCon 2011. And let me just tell you, like, this was in the days of message boards. So to find a roommate, because I couldn't afford to like hotel room by myself, I went onto the message board and I wrote up like, I'm looking for a roommate. And it was in my like my friend Katie Strange always describes the story where she saw my message board message, and like they were like all caps and like misspelled words and like shitloads of exclamation points. Like I was looking for a friend to go to VidCon with. And of course, Katie Strange saw that. She was also making content on YouTube. She went and like looked at my videos, and I looked at hers after she responded to me, and we ended up rooming together without ever seeing each other, without ever really knowing each other at all. We just met on this message board, and another random girl also roomed with us that we like never saw or talked to except at night. But anyway, so I get to VidCon, and like Katie comes out of the hotel. She's like, "Oh my God, so excited to meet you." And like she brings me in and like introduces me to all these people that I've never met before, and everyone's talking about like Skype. Like, what the fuck is Skype? That was me in 2011. That's how everyone like became internet friends. When you became internet friends in 2011, you'd like go on group calls on Skype and sit there for hours just talking in the basement. And it was so boring to me. I was like, I don't want to stay here. You like don't know how to get off of Skype. But it's like a group chat with like 5 people. But this was the second VidCon ever, and it was still like a very small, intimate setting, but like there were very big YouTubers there that I had like parasocial relationships that I got to meet, and we got to go to the concert, and we were like right at the front of the concert, and I met like my first internet friends there, but I like never ate because I wasn't prepared for like what a conference is like, and how if you don't plan out food, you never eat and you starve. I remember like as a group, we finally were like, we're all really hungry. Let's like go walk to a place. So as like a mob of 15 people, we like found a mall and got food. But we'll get to our tips. But like one of my tips is like, you need to bring
snacks,
some food. Yes. I just remember being hungry so often. Like, when are we all going to leave? It's one of those situations where if you go by yourself, you're going to be making new friends. But, like, new friends have trouble, like, being like, do you want to do this together? Especially if you're younger, you know? Like, it's like, should we all go eat? Now I'd just be like, okay, I'm going to eat. You guys want to come? Like, before it's like, oh, I don't want to, like, lose all these friends by, like, leaving and going to get food. So I guess we'll
maybe
just
they're
stay
not
here
hungry.
And starve forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was it was like a learning experience. I would never say it was like my best experience, but like I'm really glad I did it. You kind of have to just rip off the Band-Aid if you're going by yourself and like be brave and learn as you go.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
What about you, Claire?
Well, my first convention was a couple years later. I went to VidCon 2013, which even then it was still pretty low key. Like there were still creators walking around on the floor. I'm pretty sure it didn't even rent out the whole convention center at that point. Like I think
at Anaheim.
I think during VidCon like 2013, I think there was like a dentist convention, if I remember right, because in the Marriott, like right next door,
was another one. Yes.
yeah, I was in the Marriott, and there was like a bunch of like
too. We were in the
professional,
same hotel.
professional like people in like suits, like with their badges, getting ready to go to the dentist convention. And I was like, oh, okay. Obviously, many years later, that is not a thing anymore. They like rent out the whole convention center. But at the time, I just remember being like, wow, this is what a convention's all about. I think I'd seen like vlogs or something that I was like, this is something I want to go experience. I didn't watch a lot of TV. I really like lived on YouTube, I feel like, where I watched so many, everything from like makeup videos to gamers to just lifestyle. So I was like so excited to go and see all these people. And even then, like, yeah, 2013, like, it was still just getting started. So, very different. I went in 2019, and I probably won't ever go again, but a totally different experience to 2013. Yeah. It was so cool, just, like, how much more casual everything was, and it felt more like just real, like, interacting with just creators. And now it's, like, totally different, but I was so glad that was like my introduction, because I've definitely been to now significantly larger conventions than that, so it was a good like introduction into conventions for me.
Yeah, I almost feel like the smaller, more niche the convention, the better experience you have, because it's so overwhelming not knowing exactly what you're there for. Like Comic-Con, like how Natasha was describing it, where she went for Twilight, that's like she had like a niche like
you were in the zone.
Directive. Like she was like, I'm here for this and I'm doing this. But if you go to Comic-Con, and another one of my tips, I'm just going to include my tips as we go here since they're coming out of me, but like is to like know what you're going for, like know the schedule and have a plan. Like I'm here for this on this day, I'm here for this on this day, because especially at those really big cons, you're not going to do anything if you don't plan to do it ahead of time. Yeah. You need to give yourself time to get there, to get online, and then, to get to the next place on time, because it takes like an hour at one of those cons to just get from one spot to the next, because it's
you never know how long the line is going to be.
Yeah. You never know how long, so go like 2 hours early at least at Comic-Con San Diego. Like, but yeah, at the smaller cons, like there's more like-minded people because it's just more niche. So it's easier to make friends, and people are just less chaotic because there's less to do. I feel like at Comic-Con San Diego, you're always just like, people are just trying to get from one place to the next, and So
yeah,
all right.
Certainly like the big ones are a lot harder, more challenging.
So we're gonna I want to talk about our best con experiences and what made them so good, because I don't think it's always what you expect to make a con experience good. Natasha, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So I weirdly enough, I was thinking about this. I couldn't figure out which one I liked more.
I know.
I did what?
It's just hard. It was so hard to make the
It
list.
is hard. It is like I picked them for different things,
I was gonna say, every convention's so different that it's like hard to compare them, and you love them all so much in many ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have some very, very, very fond memories. I just have to give like a little shout out to the Twilight conventions, because I went to several. I went to about like 6, and then
Wow.
LA would do the big movie convention so that they would coincide with the press tour. So we would get all the big actors, and that was always very fun because at that point, like I went for Eclipse and Breaking Dawn, and I had already met so many friends within the community that I would hang out. I would just go alone too. So that was like pretty much my first experience outside of like the big conventions. But for number 3, I put down this past year's D23. I have not enjoyed D23 in the past. Okay, it's like it happens every other year, and we hadn't gotten D23 I think since 2019. And this is a big Disney convention. So Disney puts on a big convention, kind of like Comic-Con, but it's only Disney. And so we see parks, movie, live action, animation. We get all that news, and then there's lots of really cool interactive booths, which I enjoy so much. They bring out some of like the archive stuff. You see a lot of costumes. You see a lot of what they're planning. They're big models of like what they're planning in the parks, and then some very, very, very exciting Disney news usually is announced. So that's what makes that con like super special. However, this con, I went with so many of my new industry friends. Like coming out of the pandemic, it was probably the first con since like BEA and BookCon and Comic-Con where like I wasn't with Christine, and I was with like people who I've like met with and connected with on Instagram and who are big Disney fans. So anyways, we did like a really, really big cosplay group, and we did like Disney bound cheerleaders, and that was super fun. And I also wore my Meg cosplay, and this was like the first time where I like was going as like a content creator, like a short form content creator, and that like costume went like super viral, and I loved wearing it because I felt like I embodied her so much, and it was so much fun for me to walk around that con and like feel so good about what I was wearing and like the character that I was embodying. And I think like that was the best dress up like cosplay experience I think I've had. It was also comfortable too, where I'm not like dying because of the shoes or the corset.
Yeah.
But I definitely experienced the con crunch for that because I was like up until very, very late making that costume.
And what was I say? Yeah. So I think what like you were getting at there, it's like it's really rewarding to go to a con and kind of like spread your wings solo, and that's what you kind of did, and with new friends and kind of, you know, testing out and forming new bonds. You come out of that like really proud of yourself because you did something new and put yourself out of your comfort zone, and it went well. And so something about that, when you get home, it feels so great to know that you can do that by yourself and do it successfully and have a great time, even when your closest friends aren't there with you, and that like you're making new friends and new bonds and such. Because
I think that's, I think that's what we do when we go to these cons again and again and again, because we're always trying to like chase that feeling, because you really just end off on such a high, and you're not always going to get that same feeling that you did that first time, like the first time when Claire went to VidCon and like she's like, I'm probably never going to go back, and it was so fun to have that a feeling once again, you know, now later in my life.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's part of what's so exciting about it. Like my first VidCon, I was like going by myself across the country to like somewhere where I literally knew no one, and then doing it and coming home. Like I didn't have the high as much that time. It was like the next time I went where like I saw these
when
people.
you're more prepared.
And I knew what to expect. And then you really fly. Like Natasha, you've been to there a couple times, but it was different this time because you like knew what to expect, and you were coming as like the best version of like the con. You know, you knew like what you wanted to do and what you wanted to accomplish. And yeah, I mean, part like of also like what makes these cons magic is like going and making friends, and you can do that so much easier if you go by yourself, whereas like if you're with a little group that you're comfortable with already, you're most likely just going to stick
it's not as
with your
easy to
group.
branch out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, tell us about one of your best times, Claire.
Yeah, so I also actually put D23 for 2022 as well.
We were there at the same time.
I know. Wait, actually, I feel like a lot of ours are very similar. And I also went to the 2019 one, and I was like, that was my first D23, and definitely not my favorite one out of the two. There was like lots of stuff happening. I mean, part of it is I feel like every convention, no matter how many I go to, if it's the first time I'm going, I feel like I'm still unprepared. Like, no matter, it's like
they're all different.
They're all so different. So in a way, it was probably good that the one that was my least favorite prepared me for 2022's D23. So I felt like I had like a better game plan of what's happening. And yeah, I mean, I am a huge Disney fan, so to me, it's like so much fun to get into these panels and see all these people that are very like-minded. Like, we all love Disney, and whether or not like you like Marvel or you like Star Wars, like we all like, it's all part of Disney. And so it's a lot of fun to be able to like meet new friends that like you're with all the time. And then sometimes like a lot of the people there like have Disneyland passes, so we're all going to Disneyland after, like, let's go ride Space Mountain together or something. So that's like, I do have to say though,
the weather during last year was terrible.
It was awful.
It was humid and like raining and like 90 degrees. It felt like Florida. That was surreal. I was like, this isn't LA. And I hate humidity. Like, I can detect even the slightest change of humidity. So I was like, and so you like sometimes want to go outside to like get some fresh air from like the convention, and you'd go outside and you're like, I can't breathe because it's so sticky out here. But yeah, so I was like I went to the Disney Parks panel where they announce all the like upcoming stuff that happens. I was there too.
Yeah, we were.
I'd never been in one before. It was so exciting.
Yeah, it was so cool. I actually got into quite a few panels. They kind of figured out the lottery system, I feel like, better in 2022 than they did 2019. That was like a disaster. So that was funny. I did Disney Legends, which was awesome. It was really cool. And like all these panels that I had like heard about, but was not able to get into, the couple years before. So that was definitely a highlight. I'm sure I'll be going again, because I did enjoy it so much.
Yeah. One of my favorites, and this is kind of like trailing off of what y'all were saying, what we were talking about, was my third time going to VidCon, because I hadn't so the first and second time, first time was just making friends. Second time was at a new location, because the first one was at like the Hyatt in LA, which was so different from going to Anaheim, where it's a huge convention center. We were just at a hotel that had a convention hall, and so the second time I went with like some people that weren't YouTube people, and I just hadn't found like my clique. And when you have like a clique of people, it's so much more fun. And then the third time, VidCon 2013, I went there by myself, but met up with Katie, who I'd been meeting up with every year, Katie Strange, but like all the booktubers, like Jesse the Reader, Caddy Tastic, Raylene, Ariel, like Katrina Book Owl, like everyone was there, and it was like instantly we were friends and felt so comfortable, and it made everything so much more fun. And I knew everything, so that was all their first time, but like I knew where everything was, and like I would like pass people, and like people would say hi to me because I've been going for 2 years, and I was like, wow, I guess I know people. Like, this is so weird, and never like me, and it just felt like I was coming home in a way, instead of like going to someplace where I knew no one, because of the people. It's all about like the people you meet there. I feel like the feelings that you get, and the hanging and doing things together and experiencing these things together. And I was on my first ever panel that year. There was a less than famous panel that you could audition for if you had like less than 50,000 subscribers or less than 100. I forget what it was, but so I sent in a tape. Not I sent in a tape. I made a YouTube video. I sent in a tape. It was 1985. I sent in a YouTube video. I auditioned, which just in itself was something that I never would have used to do. Used to have the balls to do, but 2013 was like my year of doing. Like I was just like, fuck it, I'm doing it. And I got on the panel and like all the booktubers came and were like in the audience like cheering me on. It was so sweet. I just had such a nice time, and it fell on my birthday, and I think I saw Natasha on my birthday. We went out to lunch, and then I met all the booktubers in Disneyland afterward and had a really great time in Disneyland for like the first time. I feel like I felt lost the other two times because I didn't have like people.
Gotta show you where to go.
Yeah. So it was just like such a perfect, beautiful time where like friendship bonds were solidifying, and like I had a lot of fun with like Kathleen that year, Jesse's best friend he brought that we're all now friends with. It was great. Okay, back to Natasha. Tell us another one.
Okay, so I had been sitting on my computer every year that you guys went to BEA BookCon, and I was just like just dying to go. I just remember those feelings, and I think even one year we did like a live show with like 12 people who like couldn't go to BookCon.
Oh,
and it was fun though. We all hung out.
Okay.
But it just had looked so much like so much fun. I think Christine, you first went with Kimmy from Page to like you had met up with Kimmy from Page to Premiere, and then everyone kind of started going at that point afterwards.
I just really quickly, if for those of you who don't know, I've been talking about VidCon, and I never gave we've all been talking about VidCon. We never really given a description.
Oh yeah, what VidCon is?
What is VidCon? It was the online video conference. It started off as YouTube. The vlog, Hank Green started it, and so it was like the first YouTube conference, and then it morphed into just like online video. And now it's been sold to a commercial company, and it's very different. It's much bigger and less, niche, and it's different.
It is very
But anyway, so BEA and BookCon is a completely different beast. BEA is Book Expo of America, and it's a oh my gosh, what is the word I'm looking for?
It's like an industry.
It's an industry conference. So it's people who are in the industry are invited to BEA, and it's not open to the public. And then BookCon was a con that they first started adding on to BEA in 2014, and it was open to the public, and it was like huge panels, and it was the first like huge book conference in America, really. So I went to BEA by myself in 2013. I knew someone who was going to be there, Kimmy from Page to Premiere, so I met up with her there. But like, it was completely overwhelming. If you go into the Javits Center with like on the floor, it's just like, it's huge. There are booths everywhere. You're just like, what is happening? It's kind of dizzying the first time you're in there, I find it. But in 2014, it was right after Booksplosion had formed, and I had all of them. So Booksplosion is an online book club that I had started along with Caddy-tastic and Jessie the Reader, and at the time it was also Ariel Bassett and Lizzie Books, and they all came to my house beforehand, and we all went to BEA together. And this is one of my best top 3 here, but this was in 2014, and it was so much more fun with people. And then after BEA, the last 2 days were BookCon, and BookCon the first year, like, they did not know how many people were going to want to come to BookCon. So like, I don't think it was a great BookCon experience for anybody, because like the lines were enormous, people were everywhere, no one could get into the panels, and it was like, this is the first time I've ever experienced something like this. So Kat and I were walking to try to get to like a BookTube meetup at BookCon, and we just started getting stopped like over and over. I had never experienced this before, and then we were mobbed, like just like in the center of this circle in the Javits Center on the floor. And it was just like everywhere I looked, it was like, can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? Can I get a sign? And it was like mind-boggling because people were yelling at us for clogging up the floor. And we were like, we don't know what to do. Like, we're not going to like say no to people who are coming up and trying to talk to us. It was like our whole audience all of a sudden showed up on the floor. And it was just surreal. But like, I had Kat there with me, so I didn't feel like completely overwhelmed because I wasn't by myself. But like, I was like, this is what it's like to be Charlie. He's so cool. Like, I just kept thinking that. And Charlie is so cool. Like, was like the biggest YouTuber for so long. And whenever I saw him at VidCon, he would just be like surrounded like this. And I was like, how is this happening to me and Kat right now?
It's like such a I remember like the video too, and like you rehashing that moment. I was like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
like I'm so proud of her.
It was just a mind-boggling moment. But yeah, it was like, so when we went to BookCon, it was like the one time where like we felt like massive celebs all of a sudden, because everyone there was a viewer. And I mean, it was so nice to meet everyone, but we would get stuck places for like hours if we didn't have someone come eventually and be like, hey, they have to leave. And like, it's just like a taste of what anyone in like a position where everyone knows who they are would be like. Like, I don't know how that works in like people who are like recognized everywhere they go, because you just never get a second to eat. I remember like just being starving at times, and I was like, okay, we need to go, but you can't go because you don't want to say no to anybody. Anyway, BookCon got better as the years went on. That was like chaos, BookCon.
Yeah, sometimes conventions I feel like need to learn like the hard way of like how to make things go more efficiently.
Yes. After that, they were like, okay, we're going to give you guys like a specific meet and greet time so this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Katie says here in the Midwest, we had to live vicariously through the coastal folk with all these conventions in your backyard. I know.
I mean, like, were they in our backyard? Not all of them.
The Anaheim ones are. That was always easy
for you. Yeah. I was flying to those babies, though.
Yes. Okay, so I'm talking about my first BookCon experience, which is 2016. So I had now seen them do like 2, and I finally could afford it. And it was in Chicago, where Sasha's from.
Oh, yeah, they moved it.
Yeah, for like 1 year. One moment. So what made this con the greatest experience ever was, 1, it was my first time, and I had seen this people do it all, to like it just looked so fun. 2, I had booked the hotel that was connected to the convention center, so we were like super close, which is like
ideal.
One of my main tips is
if you
can afford it, get the closest fucking hotel room you can to the con. It just makes the experience so much better because it's a place where you can rest. You don't have to park your car. It's just best.
Quick walk.
Yeah. Sidebar, we had like a 30-minute walk to our hotel from Comic-Con San Diego this year. So you have to like program that into your time to get to the con.
I know. We had a really great hotel room one year, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
For Comic-Con. Okay, so it was my first con experience, and you know what? This was coming right out of like Pierce Brown like hype. Okay, I think I had just done
Piercia.
Yeah, it was Piercia time. I had just done like the Nerd Off video with him, and I even had a signing at BookCon. Like our friend JD Neto had got a booth, and he had Sasha and I do a signing for him, and that was my first time even experiencing that. But what was literally crazy is I remember, I wanted to be at BEA too, because you got all the really amazing arcs.
Yeah, we didn't talk about BEA. That's where you get the arcs.
Yes, and it was like invigorating, because you would like one line you get like this book at this time, then you have to run across the floor and get this book at this
we
time.
We had like a whole game plan. Like I would type up a game plan of how we'd run to get one book to the next. And these first 3 BEAs were so exciting because like we still were so excited about getting the arcs. Like eventually they would just send them to us, so it wouldn't be as exciting because we're like, oh, we could just ask. Like it's not the same. But before it was like a game. Like
it was like the Hunger Games of books.
Yes. And like that's another reason why 2014 was so fun, because we had like a really detailed game plan to run around the whole hall to get all the arcs
to make sure everything gets done.
Yes.
So that was just a really fun part of like those convention experiences. And also this was like the first time I could vlog a con with like all of these like content creators with us. And another fun thing, we had such an amazing dinner with Adam Silvera this time around. And I think it was, I think one of the only times we were recognized as, you know, like people
part
who
of the industry.
Yeah, by people in the industry. And it was so fun. It was a very intimate, like, I think there was 12 of us, and he shared about his upcoming books, and it was just so much fun. And then I think, there's even like after parties and stuff. That's also really fun that we got to go to. But I remember the first day of BookCon, it's like Saturday, I was wearing this pink dress. I do remember the dress I was wearing. And they had invited me to watch Pierce Brown's panel with Del Rey, and it was like a bunch of sci-fi authors. So like we took our pictures, and then I like scurried off to find like Pierce and like the author group, and they were just like kind of in the middle of the floor. And I remember being like, okay, is this going to happen to me that I've seen like on Christine's videos? Like I'm trying to prepare myself. And so I like find the group, and I'm standing there. And as I'm standing there, like talking, waiting to, you know, go with them to where the panel was going to be held. I just kept getting like, people were just approaching me left and right. And it wasn't like, they could care less about like Pierce and the other authors. And I just remember feeling awkward, and also being like, and everyone was watching this go down, and they're like, who, like the other people were like, who is she? Like, what?
That's what it's like when we go to like Y'all West and stuff. It's like, who are those kids that everyone is like going over to?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so flattering and like so overwhelming at the same time. But it's a like crazy experience. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
And I mean, we also had adjoining rooms that time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, I was ill during this trip, and
You
it
were?
was like the first 3 days were like hellfire for me. Like, and I couldn't talk. So like, I can't put this as one of my, even though like I had like in retrospect a great time, I was in so much pain. Yeah.
Oh,
I
'cause
went
your
to the
voice?
emergency. Yeah, it was my throat. I went to like the emergency doctor, what is called urgent care, and once I got antibiotics, I was like 1,000% better.
Oh, I don't remember this. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Being
well,
sick
like
always
you
puts a
wouldn't. You
damper
guys
on
were having
anything.
a great time.
Yeah. And then I stayed with Sasha afterwards for like 3 days, and that's when we also filmed the Shadowhunters video.
It was a great time. Shadowhunters parody, Clace. All right,
Yeah.
Claire. Bring us
I
home.
put PAX Prime, which PAX Prime
What
West.
is PAX?
It is a gaming convention, essentially, which I went to. It was in Seattle, I think it was. And that was just cool because I'd never been to anything quite like that before. I feel like I hit a lot of like different realms between like books with like Y'all West, and then, you know, online videos, and I went to BeautyCon one year. I like try and hit like everything. So I was like, what's something I haven't done? Gaming. So I did that, and that was really cool. And I think it's always, we're always talking about making friends, and I think it's really cool for especially girl gamers to meet other girl gamers out there, because there can be such, you know, chaos in the gaming community between sometimes guys and girls, and so it's nice to have like meet people in real life that you can like connect with online. And also it's very similar to like D23 where they announce like new games coming into the industry, and they'll often have like beta codes that you can like play new video games that haven't come out yet, and play video games that they might have just like a preview of. So that was really cool. And there was a part of like PAX that was very specifically YouTube gamers. So that was cool, where they like had like a whole like panel, and you got to like meet and greet all these gamers that like some people watch. I saw PewDiePie, who I don't personally watch, but at the time I was like, I at least know who that is. Like, that's a big
he was
deal.
like the biggest YouTuber on YouTube,
which is so funny because at this convention, he like was walking like the convention floor. Like, if he was at VidCon, there would be security. That would never happen. But here, because it was like such a niche like part of the gaming industry is YouTube, he literally was just like walking around taking pictures of people, like just talking. And I was like, oh my God, if this was VidCon, this would never happen. So that was pretty surreal to see that. But I think that was just really cool and different thing for me to do. And that was one of I've been to a bunch of conventions by myself, but that was one that I did go to by myself, because I felt like it was a good opportunity to kind of like spread my wings a little bit and bond with other people. So that was like a lot of fun. Just to experience it. I love Seattle. Seattle's great, so I could spend
Katie
all the
said
time
Claire's collecting all the convention Infinity Stones.
Yeah. Really. I know. I like I said, BeautyCon to video game conventions. I'm really all over the place.
I totally forgot. I did like Generation Beauty Con in LA, and that I did that with Heather, and that was like my best friend Heather. Alex was like, "You keep saying Heather's your best friend, but isn't Christine your best friend?" I'm like, "Yes, I have multiple best friends.
You can have
just want to make this clear."
Yes. There's more than one best friend.
I can have more than one.
There's tiers.
There are tiers. The beauty cons are interesting because you just get a bunch of free product, and that is
that's kind of why I wanted to go, because I was like, I want all the makeup. Like, give it to me.
Like, you just watch, like, if you were in the beauty community, you would just watch these people just do these massive hauls of, like, I came back. I still have stuff from that convention. That was in 2018.
Me too. That's not unopened. I didn't like. There's some stuff that I like
it's
never
ridiculous.
actually used. And I saw Zendaya there one year. That was pretty wild.
What?
Yeah, I know. She was like, you see all kinds of random people at these conventions, and I remember being like, oh my God, she's like just as gorgeous in person as she is like. Because, like sometimes you're like, I mean, they look a little different. I was like, oh my God, she's so like beautiful. The most beautiful person I think I've ever seen. And I have like this far away picture of her, but I'm like, she still looks beautiful. I was like, it was crazy. Wild. Yeah, all kinds of people you see at conventions, which is so fun.
Ash says she went to high school with Zendaya.
What the heck?
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. All right. Natasha, do you want to wrap us up with your third one?
I mean, yeah, we share this together, so we can both talk about it.
Yeah.
So Christina and I have been going to Comic-Con since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been going to Comic-Con since 2009, so I went every year for like Twilight stuff. But 2017 felt like the ultimate time because we had Jesse and Sasha with us.
Sasha.
And it was so fun, like the four of us gallivanting around San Diego together. And we also did a group cosplay, and that was so much fun.
Favorite cosplay. It was Westworld, season 1. And I was Dolores, and Natasha was Clementine, and Sasha was another one of like the bar gals.
Yes. And we looked great. But what also made that convention fun, obviously, was being together with everyone. We had the best hotel you can get for San Diego Comic-Con. We had the Grand Manchester. Now, you can get the Marriott, which is actually the closest one to the convention center. But I like the Grand Manchester because it's like...
Tell them how you get it, Natasha, though.
Okay. So this thing called... Okay, well, San Diego Comic-Con is the most insane thing to get into.
Yes, that is Very true.
Getting tickets to that thing is no easy feat. And honestly, I have only gotten tickets to it like the normal way back in like early 2010s.
Honestly, like just real quick tip, if you're going to go to any cons, the first thing you want to do is book a hotel. It's going to book out. Get the closest hotel, like Natasha was saying, but you have to do it like ahead of time, like a year, like a year ahead.
Yeah, no joke.
But the issue with San Diego Comic-Con is that they block all the hotels for that week. You cannot book a year out. You have to enter in this thing called the hotel apocalypse. Okay, so if you have a badge, you will get sent a link, and then the link will take you to this site where you will have to wait in line, just like we did for Taylor Swift tickets. And little man is walking around, and you have to put your 5 top hotels, okay? And then it's like a lottery system at that point. And the 4 of us all did it together. I don't think Sasha did, but I think
No, I think she did. I thought Sasha was the one.
Oh yeah, she's the one who got it.
Yeah.
So the 4 of us all did it all together because I was like, we have to do this. We've been staying so far away for years.
Yeah, Natasha and I would
it.
stay at like random hotels half an hour away, and we'd have to drive, and parking is an absolute nightmare. So you don't want to do that.
And this was like before the days of Uber.
Yeah.
And
Well, there was Uber, but like, was there
No one
Uber? Yeah,
not
I don't
that.
know.
I mean, it wasn't the greatest. Anyways, so Sasha got the Grand Manchester, and it's the second closest hotel to the convention center, and it just makes our lives so much easier because it's already a very hectic convention, and they don't have a lot of food on site. So, also like trying to figure out how to feed yourself, and it also was just a wonderful walk back and forth with the ocean right there.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. And also Outlander had its third, I think it was there for its 3rd season.
Season 3, yeah.
And I was working closely with Stars and Torrid at this point, and I had gotten like a special pass to sit in like this special place, and then I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna be here. And we had never gotten something really special at Comic-Con because you either have to wake up really early, it's hard to get like the signing tickets because you have to get into the convention hall when it opens and then run to the booth and then get the ticket, and then you go to a signing, and usually the signing is like at the booth. I used a friend, which was Diana Gabaldon's son, Sam Sykes.
We told the story about meeting him in a different episode.
I think
or
so.
maybe a tea time.
Yeah, I think it was probably tea time. But anyways, he got us in to see the cast of Outlander, and
They were all there signing these beautiful posters.
I still have my poster.
I do too. I want to frame it.
And we met them all in character for Westworld.
Oh yeah, we were all dressed as Westworld. They were so nice, and I remember Claire, whose name escapes me at the moment, but Claire on the show, she addressed it to me, and they weren't supposed to address it to anyone, so they'd go faster, but mine says Christine on it. She asked
Oh my gosh,
me
that's so special.
And I was
Katrina
like,
Balfe.
Oh yeah, Katrina Balfe. I was so excited. But on top of that, Outlander had like hired 20 hot dudes,
Yes.
like actors, to dress as like Highlander Scotsmen and dance around outside to music after doing like push-ups. And like we were looking for them because we wanted to
bagpipers.
interact with them. Yeah, and bagpipers. Like it was great promotion. And so we found their circle, and they were doing push-ups, and we were all in our Westworld gear, and they started dancing to like the Scottish music, and like one of them pulled me over, and I was dancing with him, and like they lifted all of us up on their shoulders and like took pictures with us. It was so fun.
It was very fun. It was like that was our last day too, because we were like desperately trying to find them, because we were like, we would hear the
Where are
bagpipes.
they?
We're like, where are they?
Go, go, go.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a good time. So I guess I'll just really quickly do a different one for my like last good experience. But one of my best experiences, I forgot about this con, was NerdCon in Boston in 2017. And this was like the Green Brothers Con. It was basically like old YouTube coming back and having a conference together in Boston, and it was so nostalgic because by this time we were like out of the old YouTube where like everyone knew each other, but it was like everyone who went to the first and second VidCon coming back and reuniting for this NerdCon to celebrate 10 years of 10 years of the Vlogbrothers online. And I just was so emotional. Like, we all sat in that like convention hall to start, and there was this like 10-minute montage of like moments from the Green Brothers videos throughout the years. And
oh my God, I'd cry.
I did cry, yeah. And Kat and I were in the front row with two of our friends, and like they have a picture of us watching and like being like laughing and being emotional watching the montage in the Boston Globe, like NerdCon.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, it's just like such a special moment, and like they were just right there because we were like in the front row, like right there at the table, because they were gonna like introduce the con. And I don't know, it felt so special. There were so many people who were on panels at like the first VidCon I went to, on panels at this VidCon. And just the fact that it was in Boston, it was my first time being back in Boston. I went to school there since I graduated, and I could like show everyone around the city. It was really nice. And again, it was like very niche. So I feel like I don't know, you just have like more intense bonding experiences at these like niche cons because everyone's there for like the same reason. Like everyone was there for the Vlogbrothers, and it was really nice. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. All right. So are there any tips for people going to different conferences that we haven't touched on yet that any of y'all want to shout out here?
Yes. So after like 2018, I developed plantar fasciitis on my heels. And it's because I wore stupid shoes. Okay. So my number one tip is, and I wear good shoes. Okay. I don't care if it messes with your outfit. Like you're going to hate yourself as you get older if you don't wear good supportive shoes. And this is why I get made fun of all the time these days. They're like, oh my gosh, you're like, LOL, the Hokas, that's the shoes I wear now, or like the sneakers with the princess dress. Thank you. I'm like, I don't care. You want to experience plantar fasciitis where you step out of bed every single morning and it hurts to walk? Yeah. Fuck you. Yeah.
And like, also don't wear ones that you just bought the day before because you need to break those.
Make sure they're worn in. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Don't choose to break them in. That goes for Disneyland too.
Yes.
I
don't know how many times I did that, like over and over again. I would get new shoes and then wear them at the con and die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Christine was the first person to teach me about moleskin.
You gotta get moleskin for your cons, especially if you're gonna wear any shoes. Get it at CVS. It's like this sticky, like it's not a Band-Aid. It's like a thicker piece of Band-Aid that you like cut out. You have to bring scissors. You cut it for the size you need, and you slap it over your blister, and then you don't feel the blister anymore, and it just sticks until it falls off.
Or it's like preventative. You can put it around where it's rubbing.
Yeah. If you start to feel rubbing, get out your moleskin, sit down, get out your scissor. That's why I have an emergency scissor at all these cons. Cut out a piece and slap it on there. It is the best thing I ever discovered. It is because of Larry, my mom's ex-partner, was like used to use it at Boy Scouts, and he was like, you gotta get moleskin. And I was like, what, moleskin? And then it changed my life. I have it, I carry it in my backpack at all times, and a little scissor, handy dandy scissor.
It changed my life too.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah, thank you, Larry. Honestly, like I wore Nike Air Force Ones for a very, very long time, and those are really cute and great. But I changed over to Hoka like walking shoes, and like just plain white ones. And I even put in Dr. Scholl's like foot gel in. So it's
really got it.
Extra. Yes. I mean, I've had so many issues with my feet. Like I have to take care of them.
Yeah.
I will never forget. I wore these heels with like a cute BEA outfit, and then we decided to walk across half the city and go across the High Line. And I was in so much pain.
So much.
in every step. My feet were literally bleeding.
I remember when we decided to walk from BEA to like I think it was Little Brown for like this brunch thing. It was 25 blocks away.
I was wearing my boots. I was prepared for that.
I was wearing dumb flat shoes.
Yes, wear good tennis shoes.
Yeah,
For sure.
or like boots if they're flat, like good boots.
Something comfortable.
Yes.
You can decide what kind of comfort level.
If you need to wear your cute shoes, bring a little backpack and have your non-cute shoes in the backpack.
Yeah, I usually put them in, like if I'm driving, I'll put them in my car.
Yeah.
So I can go for the mid-break.
Granola bars are your friend. Have at least 3 at all times in your bag. You want a backpack. That's what I would. Don't take a little side bag because that gets in the way and you can't put enough in it. Like a little backpack is ideal for these cons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Water.
I love
water.
my
Important
water. I stopped taking a backpack because it killed my back. I love my Stony Clover jumbo fanny pack now. It can fit a whole ass camera, like my big camera, and a water bottle and all my shit in it. So that's what I'll be taking from now on.
See, I can't get enough shit. I don't like a fanny pack sitting on me. I have like a, I don't know. I guess I'm better with a backpack in terms of my specific back pain. I carried around so much shit in my backpack. I was carrying like a 40-pound backpack
was so
first
heavy.
few cons. Like, because I had my whole camera. I would carry like my tripod sometimes. Mistake. You know, just carry your, once I got the vlogging camera, it was a game changer because you don't have to carry around the big DSLR. But, yeah, backpacks or fanny pack if you prefer. Like, but I just have too much shit for a fanny pack. I need my water bottle.
Yeah, I feel like I put a lot of stuff in my backpacks.
Yeah.
Try to put as much as I possibly can. And on to the snacks, I feel like a lot of times, like there's like food trucks or like, you know, stuff in the convention center. It's like really expensive. And
terrible.
the lines can be so long. And if you're waiting to go to a panel and you're like, I don't have time to like wait in this 35-minute line to get a piece of, you know, like $8 pizza, then the granola bar will save your life.
It will. Because that's what you're always doing. You're running from one line to the next, and you don't have time to wait on a food line.
Yeah. Usually what I'll do is in the morning, I'll go to like Starbucks or something and like pick up like a little protein box or something. So that way I can at least have something sustainable.
I'll always get like my drink, and I'll already have my granola bars, but I'll also get like a croissant or something I could put in my bag for an emergency.
The emergency croissant.
I can go very long without eating. So if I eat in the morning, and then I can, like, usually for cons, I just don't eat the whole day because I just don't want to deal with it unless I'm with Christine and we stop for somewhere.
Unless you have to.
I love the big meal at the end of the day after like a very like long day. It's so rewarding to sit down and like think about like what you did that day and you're eating.
Yeah, I like that too, but I will like faint and be mean.
Yes, you're different than me.
I feel like I am also like can usually last for a fairly long time before I'm like water is what I need. That's like the most important part for me.
Me too.
Yeah,
it's water.
Okay, cosplay. So I never really thought this was crucial, but this is my number one thing because it's so much fun.
It is so much fun.
If you ever had an inkling of wanting to dress up as a character, do it. And it's the best place to do it because you're at a convention with like-minded nerds, okay? And either you buy the costume and you feel great in it, or you know, maybe enhance and already bought one, or you make it from scratch, like I do. It's so much fun. Like, just dress up, be in character, and have a fun time with your friends.
Yeah, and then people like get excited about your costume.
I was gonna say people like love that, and they especially love when it's like very niche characters that like no one really knows about.
Yes, this is the place. One tip though about the cosplay: try not to do a wig if you can. It's gonna hurt you. It's gonna murder your brain. It's a long day.
Yeah,
it's a long day for a wig.
I did, honestly, what was worse than the wig was my Meg hair. I did 2 clip-in ponytails, and that was with my extensions already in my hair. That was very painful, but I managed to live through it. Bring all the drugs. I would always pre-game with ibuprofen.
Well, maybe not all the drugs, just ones that are illegal.
Pre-game with ibuprofen.
Pre-game with ibuprofen. because then you won't feel as sore until like around dinner time.
But then you don't know that it's hurting you.
You'll know.
You'll still feel it. It'll just help dull it slightly.
The first year we like cosplayed a little bit, I was wearing a Ravenclaw crown, and that gave me the biggest headache. Like anything on your head when you're like walking around all day in the heat, it was like if you can avoid it. Obviously you want to dress up as the character accurately, so that will probably come first, but if you can avoid it, try to.
Yeah, because what happens is that you're not going to feel good, and then you're just going to want to like derobe.
It's not going to be fun either.
No.
Yeah, everything's going to go downhill from there.
So what else? Is there anything else before we move on to the next thing that you guys want to?
I put bring extra battery packs. I put like get the iPhone extra chargers, because I feel like I kill my phones like within hours of conventions, especially because when you're waiting for panels or waiting for food or whatever you're doing, like if you're not talking with people, you're like reading a book or like scrolling on Instagram or trying to post something. So I feel like, and it's always good too, just in case, like, because so many people find the few outlets and like stay there until their phone's charged. So like having just something in your backpack just in case. And I remember one time, I think it was for the first VidCon, my phone had died. It was the first convention I've ever been to, and I had to go back to the Marriott to charge my phone to like 20% so I could at least get a picture with whoever I needed to get a picture with. And then my phone died like immediately afterwards.
That's so sad.
I was trying so hard. So yeah, bring extra battery packs for sure.
Yes. And your charger too, obviously. Like just so you have everything covered.
Everything just in case.
Good idea. Yes. All right, we're going to jump to, because we're running out of time here, and I want to hit, like, parasocial relationships. So sometimes we're going to these cons to meet someone you have a parasocial relationship with, and I'm wondering, like, was that worth it for you, like, to go, like, was that, like, a thing that you came out of the con being excited about, and, like, if you are not excited about, did it go well? Like, who have you met that you had a strong parasocial relationship with? How did it go? Do you have tips for when that happens and all that stuff?
Do we want to define parasocial relationship if people have never heard this term before?
Yeah, so it's when you have like a one-sided relationship, like when you're watching someone on YouTube and you feel like you know them so much, but they don't actually know you because you're on the other side of the screen. So it's like when you're listening to a podcast, like the podcasts I listen to, I feel like I'm like best friends with these people, but they don't know that I exist. It's that sort of a relationship. So go ahead. Who wants to open us up here? Natasha?
I was gonna say, I feel like as far as YouTube, I feel like Jenna Marbles was like a really big one for me, because she would very consistently post, is so funny and like very honest, you know, that's what it felt like whenever and she just draws you in. And so I remember, I never met her, I just saw her, but I remember thinking like, I would be nervous to meet her because I'm like, I have these high expectations. And I know she's a real person. That's like part of the thing with these parasocial relationships is like, you put them on a pedestal almost because you're like, I know who you are. Like you post on Instagram all the time and I just feel this like close connection with you. And yeah, you don't know who I am. And I feel like, especially with like meet and greets, a lot of times you go in and you're like, you go in like assuming that they know who you are and they don't. So like really introduce yourself, have your expectations be pretty realistic, you know, right? They meet tons of people every single day, especially at conventions. So don't go in like expecting to have like a 2-hour conversation with them, right? You might only have a few seconds, and just, you know, really enjoy that moment, but keep your expectations realistic. And it can be really hard because, like I said, you feel like you know these people. And a lot of them are really nice and they try and really connect with you even in those short amount of time. And that's really, it can make this like even a short meet and greet like so important, especially because when you're watching them, like especially like somebody like Jenna Marbles, who may be like the highlight of your week, where they just don't know who you are and they mean a lot to you. And just keep that in mind when you're meeting them. And a lot of these people, like I said, are so lovely. They're really great. They really enjoy meeting. I mean, part of it is they get it. You're watching them every week. And I think that can be said of celebrities too. Even if they're like out in a coffee shop too.
So you met Sebastian Stan?
Yeah, I met Sebastian Stan
go?
at a convention. I love him. Let me just preface that. It's funny though, because I don't know if I'd like hold him like, he feels like a more attainable celebrity to me for some reason, where I'm like, I feel like we could get along. So I was really excited to meet him and he wasn't like, at the time he wasn't in like a lot of stuff. Like I remember seeing him in like, like Gossip Girl or something like that. And he doesn't have too much of an online presence, but like, of course there's like Instagram, there's always Instagram accounts that have like the lowdown of everything that he's done, like what gym he goes to. But it was just so lovely. Like, I mean, it was like we had like 2 minutes maybe. We got like a photo and I was like so ecstatic, but I was just like, I always ask, like, can I give you a hug? Because some people don't want to be like, get hugged at all. So like really, be like open. And like, if you're sensing like, maybe they don't want that, then just leave it at that. But the photo is just so funny. 'Cause I'm like, just like lit up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm like, I was like, my friend's like, oh my gosh, you were like, this photo, you were like so happy and like so excited. And he's really sweet too. And especially with like photo opportunities, you can be pretty creative. In my case, I was like, what pose do you want to do? Because I'm not that creative. And he just was like, let's just hug. So I was like, perfect. I can do that. And he was really sweet, very nice.
Yeah, when these go well, like it can make your day so hard. Like you just come out of it glowing, like you said. Like, oh my God, it went so well. Like I can't, and it's weird because the ones that I remember more intensely are the ones that went poorly. But now that you're like mentioning this with Sebastian Stan, I'm thinking about like just when we met Tom Holland for 2 seconds and he took the time to like say a couple words to us, I was just like up here, like I'm up on the ceiling for the rest of the day.
Well, and then you see that picture and you're like, oh my gosh, like I remember how I felt in that moment. And it's funny because like if you're in line like for a meet and greet, you can see all kinds of people, like people who are having like a little mental breakdown, like crying and like their hearts are pounding, they're about to have a panic attack. And then you've got the other person who's like, yeah, I'm just doing it for the photo, like don't really care. And then I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle where it's like, I'm so excited, but like I'm also not gonna like be a super like crazy fangirl. But it's just fun, like you just remember all those memories when you see that photo. And it's really funny because like I said, you can see like it's on my Instagram. I think it's like I'm just like so excited. Love him.
Natasha, do you have something?
I mean, there was a deep parasocial relationship with Kellen Lutz for so many years. Again, he's not like, I would say like, I never truly met any of my favorite like YouTubers. And if I have, I've made them my friends. Where like, I remember when Louise Pentland, we were like trying to track her down and people would be like, I saw her, she was over there. Like it was like one of the years that you guys were invited to VidCon, and I was trying my hardest to meet her because she was my number one girl. Like I loved all of the Brit people. Like if I had met Zoe at that time, I would have died because I loved them so much.
That year I met her, like I went to dinner with her and some of her friends, and I felt really like guilty because I was like,
I know, because I wasn't there. Like, I was like, I wish I was there.
I know.
She was like one of the first plus size people I ever watched anywhere, and who was so open about it. And like, she taught me everything, like where I should buy clothes, and I owe so much to her. Like I would love to meet her and tell her all these amazing things. But man, I was in love with Kellen Lutz, okay, from like the age, and because I feel like I defaulted to him because everyone loved Rob, and I was like, oh, Kellen's really cute. So my first convention, my first like Twilight convention, I had a photo with Kellen, and I also like I brought his cardboard cutout along with me. Yes. And so
Honestly,
I met
iconic.
him and took a picture with Kellen with his cardboard cutout because I was trying to stand out. I was like, I'm going to do anything.
I'm sure mission successful.
Yeah, it was. And then they also had I really wanted the VIP meet and greet, but it was so expensive. But I got this like little brunch meet and greet. So we had like a meal, and then like Peter Facinelli and Kellen Lutz went around and like sat down. And Kellen, I'll just say this. Every single time I met him, I've met that man a million times, made me feel very special. And he began remembering me because I met him so many times. Okay. And it got to like the point where like I was at the big Twilight premieres and I would just have a sign for him because I was like, I'm the Kellen girl. And yeah, I just every time I met him I was just beaming because he was very, very sweet.
Yeah, some people can be really like personable. Like you can just like, you genuinely feel like, wow, they really care about me. And then there's sometimes you meet celebrities and they're like, this is my job. Like I kind of have to do this. And so I think it really just depends. But when you do meet those people like Kellen or, you know, other celebrities who just are like, so kind, and it really just makes your day.
Mm-hmm. And I had a very similar experience with Sam Hewen. I met him at ECC. And like the best photo I ever have with celebrity was with him.
Yeah, he took really nice photos with you and Sasha. I was just gonna say, like, in my YouTube days, like I made a really big effort to like casually meet my biggest parasocial relationships because I was like, we're gonna be actually like knowing each other and they're gonna respect me as a creator too. And I did. I told the story of like the biggest one, I think on Fangirl Tea Time, and it's a little too, I don't want to tell it here. But like if you were there, you probably like saw it happening through my YouTube channel early days. But yeah, and then the same thing I was talking about, I think last episode, how I really loved watching all of like the pretentious British film YouTubers who made all the sketches. And then of course I met them too. I'll tell some of those in tea time today. But yeah, and then I was like friends with them. So I made it happen. It was great. Yeah. And then there was like there's some parasocial relationships, like Claire was saying, that you're just like, you don't want to touch it because like it's such a nice relationship one-sided that you don't want to risk ruining it. And that's what happened with like Nanalu and Mika Kitty. They were like, so Mika Kitty is Tessa Violet. She makes music now. She's fantastic. But she used to be Mika Kitty on YouTube, and she was best friends with Nanalu, and they made like music videos together. And you know, I love making a music video. I really respected their like videos. They were very well edited, very well done. And every time I saw them, I was like, I can't bring myself to even like walk over. I've been right near Tessa Violet so many times. Like she comes out of the bathroom, like we're at the same after party, we're at this, and I just like, I'm too scared. And like I'm friends with people who are like friends with her that are like, do you want me to just introduce you? And I'm like, I don't think I can handle it.
Yeah.
So like,
well, yeah, and I think like if it goes wrong or poorly, like it really may ruin everything that everything that you've built up.
And it probably won't, because I know she's lovely, because like I have friends that are friends with her. And I know like it won't, but I just feel like I'll be weird. Like, I'm like, what if she doesn't like me?
Be devastating.
Yes. Okay, so the last question here before we're gonna move on into our fuck, marry, kill. Like, someone you haven't met that you have a huge parasocial relationship, is there anyone that you like, would you want to meet them or not? Like, I think we all have Taylor Swift.
We all have Taylor Swift on there.
We all want to meet her, right? Like, she makes it special.
I'm so torn. I mean, I genuinely think that she is like a great person, but like her music has had such an impact on me that it would be truly devastating to me if it did not go well, because
I can't see it not going well, though.
I know. I can't see it either, but the fact that it could, I feel like is almost enough for me to like not want to meet her because I'm so scared. I just like have such high expectations, and yeah, her music just like throughout my entire life has been like so impactful. But I mean, that being said, I probably 100% like if they're like, we're gonna pull you aside and you can meet Miss Taylor Swift, I'll be like, I'm there. Like, count me in.
I dream about it so often. It's crazy.
Yep. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah. I have such a massive crush on Henry Cavill. And I still don't even know if I want to meet him because I don't want that to be ruined at all. And I don't even know how. I think like the way I would want to meet him, like there is no way I would ever want to, I could ever be friends or ever anything. I would love to just meet him the way I met Sam, where I like bought a ticket and took a picture with him and had that like very brief moment and that very good picture.
Yeah. And
like,
you have that picture. Yeah.
That's the way I think I would want to meet Henry. Like I can't imagine going to a premiere. Like my friends went to the Avatar premiere and he was there. And
what?
Yeah. Oh, and I gave up my seat. Anyways, that's another story.
Oh my gosh.
I was supposed to be at the Avatar premiere. I wasn't there. I gave it to one of my clients.
Yeah,
he was there.
story.
Everyone was
You're
like, "Oh shit,
devastated.
don't tell Natasha." And
Yeah. Everyone keep it on the down low.
What?
Yeah, I mean, the person like that for me would be Ian Smolderholder. Like, I don't know if I could handle meeting him.
I would
Like,
just
I think
scream in their faces.
I mean, I wouldn't scream. I would just be like, hi, hi, hi.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be really quiet. I'd be like, I can't do anything. I'm gonna be freaking out.
How do you take like him just actually being in front of you, like looking at you with those eyeballs?
You know what? How the best way we could meet these people is just the way how we met Tom Holland in the fan pit at a premiere
Really
where we were
quick.
meant to scream at them.
Really quick.
Like,
Yeah.
please let me release all these emotions.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, like Damon Salvatore, I just like can't even comprehend having any sort of conversation. It needs to be fast. I will say the dumbest shit
And then you'll like think about it for like years to come.
forever.
Yeah.
Forever. All right, we're gonna move on into FMK because we are running out of time. All right. Wow, we might have to push ACOTAR another week, which is insane. We're missing 2 weeks of ACOTAR, but I promise it'll be back next time. We've had guests, and like we always run over with guests because we have so much to talk about.
Yes.
All right, FMK this week. We're doing a basic one because I've been doing very weird ones the last couple weeks. Stefan Salvatore. You've watched The Vampire Diaries?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Stefan
A long time
Salvatore.
ago.
Klaus. Or Caroline Forbes.
Oh. This is okay. I'm killing Stefan.
What? Oh my god.
Oh my god. What about Klaus?
I am
That
marrying
jerk.
Klaus.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? This is just let me. I've always loved him. Okay, and then I'm gonna kiss Caroline.
Oh my god. I'm so marrying Caroline Forbes so fast. I love her.
I was gonna say I probably would too.
I think
I'm
Caroline and I are too similar. I don't think we would get along in a
Okay.
household together.
Not compatible.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand that.
We'd get along.
I was gonna say I think I would also marry her as well.
Yes. And then I'm going to kiss Stefan and kill Klaus. I hate him. He's an unpredictable murderer.
Yeah, I'm
Makes
gonna have to
life
agree with that.
interesting.
Yeah. I was literally gonna say the same thing.
God.
I was like, let's just
Oh my god.
get rid of him.
Yes, Julia, he does have a soft side. Like, he loves Caroline. He would do anything for her. Like, imagine if that was me.
I wouldn't
could try and
trust
imagine.
around anybody. All right. So I think that's gonna wrap up our show today. We have a lot to talk about in these ACOTAR chapters, which is why we keep pushing it because there's a lot of details to go into. We're at chapters 34 and 35 if you're not caught up. So for next week, we were going to be digging into 34 and 35. But for now, you have time to catch up with us. And we're going to say Goodbye. We're so happy you are here listening with us. And if you have any feedback, please feel free to shoot us an email at thoseworkingfangirls@gmail.com or comment on the YouTube stream or our Instagram. And if you want to hear more, Fangirl Tea Time is going to start right after this for everyone who's a patron. So if you want to hear us talk about the spicier stories from cons that we can't talk about on the main show, we're going to be telling those in the Tea Time today. We're excited. So all those links are in our show notes. We want to thank our editors, Alex Polis and Jake Needham, edit our podcast. The music is by Cole Jenkins with vocals by Heather Traska, and we post new episodes every Friday. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Claire, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. We're gonna put some links if you want to find Claire on the interwebs in the show notes. What do you like to use, Claire? What's your?
I usually use Instagram.
Instagram. Okay,
Yeah.
So find Claire on Instagram. Link in the description here. Not description. Show notes. But it's been really fun chatting with you, and we're so grateful for all your support in the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye, everybody. I'm Christine.
I'm Natasha.
And I'm
And
Claire.
This is Claire.
Bye.